Okay, so today's question is, what do mercury amalgam fillings have to do with my fertility? Do I need to get them removed? Hey there, welcome to Ask the Fertility Experts, a daily Q&A show where we'll be answering your fertility questions. I'm Sarah Clark, founder of Fab Fertile. We specialize in low AMH, high FSH, diminished ovarian reserve, and premature ovarian insufficiency or failure. I will be joined by Dr. Tabatha Barber. She is triple board certified in obstetrics, gynecology, menopause, and functional medicine. If you have a question, simply go to Fab Fertile Inc. on Instagram, leave me a DM and drop your question there, and we will answer your question on an upcoming show. That's Fab Fertile Inc. on Instagram. Take care. Okay, so today's question is, what do mercury amalgam fillings have to do with my fertility? Do I need to get them removed? This is something that we see more often where people actually have those mercury fillings, which I don't think they do as much anymore, but maybe they are still doing them in certain places in the world. And then we do a hair tissue mineral analysis test and we see mercury showing up. Or even if we don't see mercury showing up, we're asking this question on our health history. And that could be, are you then getting exposed? Many people will then identify they have these fillings, get them removed, but not getting them removed by a biological dentist, which then exposes potentially the whole body to mercury. So there's a way to identify it and then to remove them and to see kind of what's right for you. What's your take on this, Dr. Tabatha?
Yeah. So if your fillings are silver, that is mercury fillings. People get confused. So I thought I had silver fillings. That's where the mercury is. And every time you chew on those fillings or have hot liquid or hot food on them, it releases a vapor of mercury and that goes straight to your brain. And it just sits there and it can eventually cause high enough toxic burden that you can get, issues like chronic headaches, ringing in the ears, major irritability, anxiety, numbness and tingling in your hands and feet. I mean, that's when your levels are really high. But before that, it can really burden the thyroid. That's where we see it a lot with heavy metals. But you can get mercury and other heavy metals in the foods that we eat. Definitely like canned tuna fish and any kind of commercial tuna, seaweed, sushi, that type of thing. You can get mercury and you can get arsenic in your cosmetics. Lead was like in 20 out of 33 lipsticks that were checked a couple of years ago. It's crazy. So you're definitely exposed to heavy metals on a regular basis. And once they get in your system, they can really block your body's ability to send signals and do its job. And so not only is it important if you're having symptoms, but if you're not having symptoms, it might be interfering with your body's ability to do its normal jobs. And we know if your thyroid's not functioning well, that impacts your sex hormones and your ability to ovulate. So there's all kinds of research coming out now with this toxic burden. So it's really important to get your levels checked and, get on some binders and removers if you need to.
And then also having the right practitioner remove it. Can you just talk about that briefly? This is a huge, we haven't done a podcast episode on this yet. This requires a deep dive, but just in a very high level, quick.
Yeah. So quickly, heavy metals, they like to store deep in your tissue. They're not usually floating around in your bloodstream. They are for the moment, and then they go and they set up residence. Mercury loves to sit in your brain. Lead likes to sit in your bones, things like that. So if you check your hair, which is slow growing and kind of holds minerals and heavy metals, you can get an idea of what you've been exposed to more long-term, as opposed to acutely, like you just got exposed yesterday. And so if you know that, you can't just start pulling that out because it'll float in your bloodstream. But if you don't know how to bind it and remove it, then it'll go in different places, and then you'll really feel miserable and sick. And that's why removing your fillings from a regular dentist, all that vapor and mercury is going to be going up into your brain and throughout your system. It needs to be done in a controlled setting with a biologically trained dentist if you're going to do it. I'd rather have you leave them in, honestly, than have them removed inappropriately.
Thanks so much for being here. If you've got a question that you want answered, simply go to Fab Fertile Inc. on Instagram, send me a DM, and we will answer your question on an upcoming show. That's Fab Fertile Inc. and send me a DM. And please refer to our disclaimer below. Take care.